G'day legends, welcome to what I watched in October. This was a scary month, but a great month of movie watching for me, so let's get right into it. Stick around for some super fun and some super spooky movie recommendations. To start off the month, I watched Joker, Folie, Deux. Now, this movie wasn't scary for me, but I can tell you it is extremely scary for Warner Brothers with how poorly it's performed at the box office compared to its $200 million budget. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the film, you can click on the card above. I did the review in full Joker makeup, and I've got to say, guys, I know it's a hot take, but I actually enjoyed the movie. Then I watched Seven Samurai restored in 4K at the Astor Cinema. It is unbelievable how far ahead of its time this film is. A truly incredible achievement, and you can see how heavily this influenced major filmmakers like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. I'd definitely describe this movie as like Star Wars, but set in 16th century Japan with samurai instead of Jedi. On top of that, every frame is beautiful. The camera work goes absolutely insane. It's got likable characters, a good sense of humor. If you ever have a chance to catch this in a cinema, you need to take it. They also screened it with an interval as well. Bring back the interval for long movies. It made me enjoy it so much more and not feel exhausted by the 3.5 hour runtime. And why is this movie scary, you might ask? Well, it's scary because of how long ago it was made in 1954, and thinking about how almost every person on the screen is probably dead, but their performances are so vibrant that you could imagine all of those talented cast members walking out from behind the cinema screen. Then I finally watched The Substance, and I've got to say, this movie does deserve all the buzz that it's getting. I knew I was in for something special when the cinema worker warned me while I was buying tickets that they'd had 6 people throw up across their cinemas in screenings of this film. I can't really say that I'm a body horror kind of guy myself, and that's probably why this loses a few stars for me, because multiple teeth pulling out moments is a little bit too much for me, but it goes so absolutely bonkers at the end that I just had to laugh and respect this film. I think it says a lot about beauty standards that women have to deal with every day, and it conveys that message in such a creative and powerful way. Great concept, really good execution. After that, I watched Beetlejuice. I can't say I was enamored with this film, unfortunately, guys. It feels like it really just exists for me to go on a YouTube and search Beetlejuice 2 all Beetlejuice scenes compilation. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice is as good as ever, but I just really couldn't care too much for anyone else in this movie. I mean, the rest of the cast are generally likable, but the storyline just completely fell flat for me. There's some sort of cool practical effects and sets here. I guess the movie is meant to be saying something about family, but there's just too many lackluster plot lines here that don't really pack a punch. Then I watched The Apprentice. It's honestly scary how good Sebastian Stan's performance is here. He completely disappears into the role of Trump, and there were moments where I completely forgot that I was watching him on screen. The Apprentice is a brilliant and scary exploration of Donald Trump's rise to power, but more importantly, a look at why he is who he is today. The movie works so well as a metaphor for America, how it's all about gaining wealth at all costs, ultra capitalism, bullying other countries or other people, throwing your morals away, all in the pursuit of success. Then I watched 10 Things I Hate About You. Okay, I can't really claim that this is a film that scared me, or can I? Because it is scary how far away 1999 is getting from where we are now in many different ways. It's the year I was born, and I'm getting old. This movie is near perfect. The whole 90s vibe is just so warm and nostalgic, and Heath Ledger is the GOAT. This just captures the feeling of youth and young romance in 97 sweet minutes. Take me back in a time machine, please. Every shot here I want to live in. Then in TV land, I watched the first season of the UK Office. In my opinion, this is a masterful comedy and masterful television. It perfectly captures the bleakness you can feel being a part of the 9-to-5 rat race, working in a dead-end office job for a company that you don't really care about. But at the same time, it's hilarious. Some really dark humor combined with a deadpan and deliberately awkward comedic style, which is my favorite kind of comedy. A great time machine back to the early 2000s. And then I watched the new opening season of The Office, the Australian version, and it was not good. In my opinion, it failed to capture the Australian spirit and sense of humour. You can check out my review in the card above. The video is currently at 14,000 views, which is the best on my channel so far, so thank you so much to everyone that's watched it. Next, I finally watched Apocalypse Now. This was the final cut, so I did feel the runtime a little bit, but it was an absolute pleasure to get to witness this restored in 4K screening at the Lido Cinema. The scale here is phenomenal. It's just unbelievable, some of the shots in this. I can't emphasize that more. You feel like you're really watching war unfold before your very eyes. Some insane set pieces. You experience the slow descent into madness as you follow the characters further down the river through the different layers of war, but more importantly, the human psyche and the terrible things that humans can do to each other and what they can become when faced with the destruction of morality and decency. War is horror. After that, I watched Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. Dad was really keen to see this one, and shamefully, I haven't watched any Superman film in its entirety, but I still got a lot out of this documentary. There's some devastating moments here, learning of the challenges Reeve had to face after his spinal cord injury, but also the impact on his family and commemorating the memory of his late wife, Dana Reeve. It was also special to learn about his close friendship with Robin Williams. There's a lot to be said here about family, perseverance, learning to live with the tragedy and challenges that life can throw at anyone. But it was inspiring to learn about the positive impact that Reeve was able to make after his injury, especially for the disabled community. Then I watched Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Don't really have much to say about this one. I watched it past midnight, almost falling asleep, and my review of this film, you could copy and paste to any Venom film in the trilogy. Tom Hardy is great, he's a joy to watch on the screen, and his relationship dynamic with Venom is awesome, but the character and stories around them are really ordinary. I haven't read the Venom comic, so I don't know anything about Carnage, but even with no expectations, you can tell that he's underutilized here. It's not a terrible movie, but not really a good one either. And to follow that up, I watched Venom: The Last Dance. Same thing as before, Tom Hardy and Venom are great, but almost everything around them is just so silly and annoying. You can check out my full review video in the card above, but yeah, just some annoying side characters, and things get CGI crazy at the end, and it just fails to pack the emotional punch that I wanted it to for the end of the trilogy. And then I watched A Different Man. This was a pretty great movie. Another few hours with Sebastian Stan, who put in another great performance. While it perhaps went a little too crazy for me towards the end, that did take me out of the immersion a little bit. The comedy and the unique story presented here is definitely worth your time. The film explores the concept of a character who is dealt some really rough cards in life, but chooses to hold on to that bitterness and let it slowly consume and break him, even when things take an unexpected positive turn. When we feel wronged by the world, we might have every right to hold on to that hurt and let it fester, and even become resentful of others who might be handling a similar difficult circumstance in a better way than we are. Would you allow that to consume you, or will you be able to let go of that pain and find a better life? This movie investigates those ideas masterfully. And that was my October. If you want more movie recommendations, you can check out my previous weekly recaps in the playlist linked in the description, or if you're after something especially spooky, you can check out this video here with 30 scary horror film recommendations. If you enjoyed the video, guys, please consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments what you watched this month, and I'll see you in the next one.